Hi, my name is Felicia, and I will be discussing the role of the literacy coach within the social studies classroom. As Brianna mentioned, a history teacher's goal for students is to be able to think critically about a text in order to be informed and engaged citizens. One way to help students think critically is to provide literacy strategies for them to use as they are reading. However, sometimes the history teachers feel reluctant in integrating these literacy strategies because they don't understand how to do them, how to teach them, or they don't feel as confident in teaching that particular strategy or strategies. So, one way is to providing a literacy coach and viewing them as a mentor. Literacy coaches can help history teachers with how to use literacy tools effectively in their own classrooms while evaluating their teaching of their content area. So, the literacy coach can then help aid in that deep understanding needed within the social studies classroom. It is important to remember that in order for students to achieve success in the history classroom, teachers need to focus on using literacy skills to help students think and read like a historian. And that's where the literacy coach can help. They can help history teachers use their own knowledge to teach students to read and think about the material, therefore becoming that historian. The first step in doing so is to develop a clear understanding of the purpose. So the question that comes to mind is, how can the text be used in the classroom as a learning tool? For example, questions might come to mind as, is the purpose for students to analyze the perspective of a Holocaust survivor? Is the purpose for students to understand nationalism while being able to determine pros and cons of nationalism? Once this is determined, the literacy coach can demonstrate how to use literacy strategies for that particular purpose. As stated before, once the purpose is determined, the literacy coach can help identify specific strategies to help students synthesize the information and show the history teacher how to teach that strategy in their content. By providing students with reading strategies to read with, they are able to better understand the material and therefore think critically about the text. This is where history teachers can begin building their disciplinary instruction. For example, history teachers might be asking students to evaluate sources and analyze evidence by perhaps taking or defining a position on a political or economical right. So then, by doing so, the literacy coach could help show the history teacher how to use close reading strategies within the text that they are studying. And once that is shown, the history teacher can then apply that to other pieces of text. Bear in mind, by integrating these literacy tools into a history teacher's instruction, they are helping students think critically about the text. But it doesn't stop there. Students need to read more. It's very important that they have several opportunities to read and struggle through the text and apply the disciplinary literacy strategies that that their teachers are demonstrating. So the literacy coach can then provide teachers the when and where the text can be implemented into their instruction. And then we really do have a big challenge within the history classroom, really any classroom, is having students who range in reading levels. And this is where the literacy coach can help in leveling texts. Like Laura had mentioned, we need a plethora of different texts, whether it's primary or secondary sources. However, the literacy coach can then help find those materials that are geared towards perhaps maybe an appropriate grade level. Maybe it's a more challenging text or content that they're studying, and by providing an explanation paired with it, or providing texts that are at students' zone proximal development, meaning what can the students demonstrate independently versus dependently, or providing a text that's easier to read and understand to help build self-efficacy or provide the student with more confidence to continue to apply different reading strategies. Or lastly, even providing texts that are to teach specific reading strategies, especially if you're trying to get students to think critically about the content that they are learning. Um, so it is very important that the literacy coach be viewed as a mentor and a tool to help the history teacher's students to become more successful in their classroom. Thank you for listening to Content Area Literacies for the Social Studies classroom.